Hi everyone, welcome back. We're going to do another Vinyasa yoga class today, and we're going to try and work towards a more advanced pose today, Dolphin. So to come to start, let's start on sitting on the floor, knees bent, cross-legged. You can also sit with your knees bent underneath you if that feels more comfortable, if cross-legged is hurting your knees. You can also prop your knees with blocks underneath, sit on a blanket, whatever works for you, but making sure that you're able to keep a straight spine. Bring your hands to your knees, palms facing down to ground you, and close your eyes. And just start to notice your breath. And then think about elongating your in-breath and having a longer out-breath. In through your nose, out through your nose. If you have Ujjayi breathing in your practice, that audible breath when you restrict the back of your throat, you can start to incorporate that now. Bring all of your attention to your mat. This time is for you. Maybe set an intention for today's practice, or send your thoughts to someone who may need them. And trying to maintain this slow and steady and audible breath in and out through your nose throughout the practice. Open your eyes. We're just going to start with a few side warm-ups and neck warm-ups. So to start, tilt your left ear towards your left shoulder. Inhale to center, right ear to right shoulder. Inhale to center, exhale left ear to left shoulder. Inhale to center, right ear to right shoulder. Inhale to center. Now bring your chin towards your chest. Inhale to center, look up towards the ceiling. Inhale to send. Just doing this a few more times in your own breath. Then coming back to neutral. Placing your right hand down on your mat, bring your left hand to the outside of just above your right ear, and slowly bring your left ear towards your left shoulder. Really feeling a nice stretch along that right side of your neck. Don't pull too hard, quite early in our practice. It's morning for me, so I haven't quite warmed up yet. Letting that go. Bringing your left arm down and your right hand over your head and pulling your right ear to your right shoulder this time. Bringing both arms down. And on our in-breath, we're going to sweep our right arm up overhead. And on the exhale, bring it back down. On your inhale, your left arm, and then bring it back down. Let's do this 3 more times. Each side, in your own breath, but really feeling a stretch along that side body. And coming coming back to center. Take your feet so that the insides of your feet, the soles of your feet are facing one another, and try and spread your toes out and your feet out like you're opening a book. And from here, we're just going to hang forward. Just let your body weight fall forward and let gravity do its work, pulling your knees down towards the ground, rounding out your back, rounding out the back of your neck. Just let gravity do its work. Nothing to, no need to pull, no need to push. From here, roll up your spine. Pivot yourself around to the long side of your mat. Bring your upper body back, spine long into a 45-degree angle, and then lifting your knees off of the floor, shins parallel to the mat, into your Navasana, your bow pose, starting right away with a bit of an ab warmer. You can keep your arms out in front of you here, here, or even up here if you're looking for more of a stretch, more of a challenge. On your exhale, lower down so that you're all just hovering off the mat. On your inhale, come back up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, come back up. 2 more. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Hug your knees in towards you. Rolling down to your back. Bending both knees, soles of the feet on the floor, taking your right ankle over your left knee, drawing that knee in towards you and reaching through, grabbing the back of your left thigh. Just a little hip opener, opening up the back of your right buttock. Just keep it gentle. Maybe rotate that left foot. Give that a bit of movement too. And then bringing that down and switching sides. Bringing your left ankle over your right knee, pulling that in towards you. Thinking about pushing your left knee away from you, maybe rotating that right foot. Always breathing. And letting that go. From here, grab the back of your thighs and just start to rock and roll up your spine. Maybe rock and roll up 3 times, and on your last one, use your momentum to roll over into a standing forward fold. You can bring your feet hip width apart and keep your knees bent. Maybe grabbing opposite elbows and just hanging out here. Rocking from side to side, loosening up the backs of your hamstrings a bit, maybe taking a few squats. And then letting your elbows go and slowly rolling up your spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, until you come to standing at the top. You can roll your shoulders at the top. Excellent. So now we're really going to start to warm up our body with our sun salutations. We've done these a few times before, so we're just going to get stuck right into it. Inhale, arms up to the sky, slight bend, arch in your upper back. Exhale, hinging from the hips, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift, spine parallel to the floor. Exhale, plant your hands, step back into your plank position. You can drop your knees for this first one, lower your chest down to the mat. Inhale into your cobra, bringing your shoulders and your chest slightly off the floor. Exhale, tuck your toes under, Push back into your downward facing dog. Maybe you want to paddle your legs out here. First downward facing dog of the day. Really pushing away with your hands, gripping the mat, rolling your shoulders open as if you're pulling your armpits towards each other underneath you. Tailbone tilted to the sky, knees bent if you need to. Otherwise, really pulling those heels down towards the mat. Looking forward, just walking your feet up towards your hands. Inhale into your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, all the way back up to standing. Let's do 3 more at pace, and if you're doing your full chaturanga, you can do that along with me. Inhale to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step or jump back to chaturanga, down through your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. You can sigh it out if you want to. On your next inhale, looking forward, bend the knees, step or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, up to standing, arms down through prayer. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands, step or jump back, down through your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in, breathe out. Don't forget about all of your cues. Tailbone tilted to the sky, legs strong, arms strong. Looking forward, bending your knees, stepping or jumping to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, up to standing. Let's do 1 more. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step or jump back down through your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Shake your head out, no. Shake your head out, yes. Inhale, look forward, bend your knees, step or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, all the way back up to standing. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit warmer now. We're going to start to flow through some of our sequences. So this time on our inhale, we're going to come in through chair pose. So inhale, bend your knees, drop your bum back, arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step or jump back down through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, bring your right foot between your hands. Drop your left foot to the mat at a 45-degree angle and raise up through your warrior 1. In this position, you want your hips facing towards the front of the mat. Pull your right hip back, your left hip forward. Really strong back leg. Knee bent so you can just see your big toe, your right big toe. And breathing here. On your next exhale, opening out to warrior 2. You might want to lengthen your stance here. Your hips are now pointing more parallel to the long side of the mat. Push your right knee out. Arms parallel to the mat. Shoulders directly over your hips. Gaze over that front middle finger. Outward rotation of the thighs. here, reverse your warrior. So keeping your legs the same, just bring your right arm up overhead and let your left hand glide down your back leg or wrap around you. From here, we're going to shoot forward straight into a half moon. If you need a block for your half moon, grab it with your right hand and use that to help you swing around. If not, you're going to shift your weight forward onto your right foot. Bring your right hand down towards the mat. Open your hips out to the right side of the mat. And then bring your left arm up overhead. Sorry, we're facing the left side of the mat. Breathing here, gazing up to the sky if you can. If you're feeling balanced, really pushing away with both legs to create that balance. And then looking down, bring both hands down to the mat. Drop your left leg back behind you into your pyramid pose. So your feet are hip width apart. They're not like you're on train tracks. Bringing your right hip back, your left hip forward, spine long, and just bending over that front leg. Breathing here. From here, plant both of your hands, step both of your feet back, and come into a plank position. From here, we're going to actually lower down onto a forearm plank. So bring both of your forearms down to the mat, really rounding your upper back here, tucking your tailbone under, keeping your bum low. Let's hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming back up onto your hands and pushing back into your downward facing dog. Just breathing here. Let's flush it out with the vinyasa. Inhale to plank, exhale chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. This time bringing your left foot forward, planting your right heel down, raising up to your warrior one. Hips facing towards the front of the mat. Back leg strong, really pushing the outer edge of that back leg down into the mat. Tailbone tucked under. Gaze slightly up and forward. Breathing here. On your next inhale, opening out to your warrior two. Maybe lengthening your stance, making sure your shoulders are over your hips. Your hips are parallel to the long side of your mat. Your gaze directly over your front middle finger. See if you can get a bit deeper into your warrior two. And then reverse your warrior. Bringing your left arm up overhead. Right arm down by your leg or wrapped around you. From here, transitioning into your half moon. So shifting your weight into that left leg, maybe putting a block in your left hand, bringing your left hand down, opening up your right hip towards the right side of the room. And if you're feeling balanced, bringing your right arm up towards the sky. Breathing here. Gaze up towards the sky. And then from here, bring both hands down. Drop that right foot behind you. Feet one stride length apart as if they're on railroad tracks. And folding over that left leg. From here, plant your hands, step back into your plank position. We're going to come back down onto our forearms. And this time, we're going to do a bit of a forearm to downward dog motion. So forearm downward dog. So from here, you're going to push, you might want to bring your feet forward a little bit. Push your bum up towards the sky. And then bring it back down. Push your bum up towards the sky. Back down to your forearm plank. Up to the sky. Back down to your forearm plank. 2 more. We're just warming up for that dolphin movement later. There we go. Last one. Come back up to your hands, into your plank, and push back into your downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Looking forward, stepping or jumping to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, all the way up to standing. Great, we've got one more flow that we're going to do to open ourselves up in the upper back area. So we're actually going to start in chair pose for this flow. So on your inhale, bend your knees, drop your bum back, and land in your chair pose, Utkatasana. Hold this pose here. From here, we're going to go into eagle arms. So take your right arm under your left, wrap your arms, your forearms around each other, and bring your palms to touch. Really opening up the upper back here. From here, shift your weight into your left foot, and with control, bring your right foot back into a high lunge, keeping those eagle arms. Untwisting your hands, bringing your right elbow to the outside of your left knee, and twisting to the left hand side. Really using your elbow to give you some leverage here. From here, we're going to windmill all the way around into a star shape on the other side. So follow me here. On your inhale, windmill your arms around until you come into a star shape facing the right side of your mat. Your toes are going to be facing outwards towards the outer edges of your mat. From here, bring your knees, drop your body down, keep your tailbone tucked under, as if you're sliding straight down a wall, coming into Cactus Legs. From here, you can bend your elbows and come into Cactus Arms. Just hold this here. Make sure that your bum isn't sticking out too much. Straighten your legs, bring your hands to your hips, pivot your toes so that they're facing forward, and we're going to go into a forward bend here. So tucking your tailbone under, hinging from the hips, coming down into a wide-legged forward fold. You can bring your hands to the mat, to the outside of your feet, to your big toes, whatever feels good to you. Shift your weight forward into the balls of your feet, and you'll feel even more of a stretch in your hamstrings. From here, walk your hands around to the front of the mat. And push back into your downward facing dog. So from here, we're going to move into our Dolphin Pose. So for this pose, bring your forearms down to the mat. So you're in a forearm kind of downward dog. And then just really push away from the mat with your elbows so that you're rounding your upper back. So you're not sinking into it, you're really rounding and engaged. Imagine you're pulling your elbows in towards one another. And then from here, just start to walk your feet in towards your elbows. This might be enough for you. You want to try and get as far in as you can, and then maybe you want to raise a leg to the sky. Maybe you're raising your right leg, trying your left leg. Maybe you're doing a few dolphin handstand hops. And then when you've had enough, walking yourself back down, knees open, and coming into a child's pose. You can have your hands out in front of you. You can wrap your hands round back behind you if you want a more restorative child's pose. From here, bringing your hands out in front of you if they're not already, raising up into your downward facing dog. Looking forward, stepping forward to the front of the mat. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, coming back up to standing. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So inhale into your chair pose. Make sure the weight is in your heels. Your tailbone is tucked under. And then from here, eagle arms on the other side. So bringing your left arm underneath your right this time and wrapping your forearms around each other. Shifting your weight into your right leg with control, bringing your left leg back into that high lunge. Really engaging your legs, keeping them strong. Unwrapping your arms, bringing your left elbow to the outside of your right knee, twisting open to the right side. Breathing here. And then windmilling yourself open to the star shape on the other side. So on your inhale, just opening yourself out. Feet pointing to the outside edges of your mat. Tailbone tucked under, sliding down into that cactus pose. And bringing yourself into cactus arms. And just holding yourself here as deeply as you can go. Breathing. From here, straighten your legs. Pivot your feet so that they're facing the front of the long side of your mat. Let's clasp our arms behind each other this time. So with a grip. Inhale to lengthen your spine, and on the exhale, hinging from the hips. And folding forward, letting your arms just fall back behind you and over your head. Really engaging your legs, imagining that you've got an outward rotation of your thighs, shifting your weight into the balls of your feet. Breathing here. Letting your hands go, bringing them down to the mat and walking your hands towards the front of the mat. Stepping back into your downward facing dog and bringing your forearms down for a second go at the dolphin pose. So your forearms are down, your hands are parallel, so there's like equal distance between your hands and your elbows out in front of you. Rounding that back again, tilting the tailbone to the sky, walking your legs in as close as you can to your elbows. And then from here, if you want to play around, raising your right leg to the sky, maybe a few hops. Left leg to the sky, a few hops this side. And then when you're done, just coming down into your child's pose. And just relaxing here. Bringing your heart rate back down if it went up. From here, raising back up into a downward facing dog. Looking forward, walking your feet towards the front of the mat. Inhaling to your halfway lift. Exhaling to your forward fold. And coming back up to standing. Well done. We're going to do a couple of balancing poses and then move into our back bend series. So coming to standing, toes together, heels slightly apart. Imagine you're shifting your weight into your left leg. Bend your right knee and bring it in towards you. Now this may be, if you want to keep your spine straight through this whole series, so this may be enough for you. We're going to be opening out to the side. If you can go deeper, you can reach down and you can grab your big toe from the inside. Keeping your spine long, push your right leg out so that it's straight in front of you. But make sure you can keep your spine long, your left leg is locked and digging into the ground. From here, opening out your right leg to the right hand side, and then maybe shifting your gaze over to the left if you're feeling balanced. Breathing here, staying strong, bringing that leg back into center, bending the knee, and letting it go down. Same thing on the other side, so really grounding that right foot this time. Bending that left knee. Again, you can stay here and just balance out to the side like this. Otherwise, reach down, grab your big toes, try and keep the sole of your foot facing down towards the floor, spine long, and then kick out in front of you. Really kicking into this hand is going to help you with your balance and really digging into the right foot. Opening out to the left-hand side, keeping your spine long, leg straight, and then maybe shifting your gaze to the right-hand side. Breathing here. Coming back into center, letting that foot go, bending your knee, lowering back down. Well done. We're going to come into a couple of back bends now. So from here, let's just come down onto our knees and bring your feet so that they are wider than your hips. Grab your calves, roll the calves muscles out, and bring your bum down in between your feet. So some of you may be able to go all the way down to the floor. I actually can't. So I'm going to put a block underneath my bum to give me a bit more balance, and that's going to help me here. So that I can really, I don't want to just relax into it, but I want to be comfortable. I don't want my knees to be hurting. I don't want too much stress on my quads. If your bum is all the way down to the mat, you can start to walk yourself backwards. And maybe some of you will be able to come to where you're laying on the mat behind you. And just make sure you are still engaging, you're still keeping your thighs engaged, you're not just falling into the pose if you are all the way down in your hero pose. If you're like me, you just go down as far as you can, feeling that really good stretch along the front of your quads, but not letting it get to a point where it's uncomfortable. If anything's hurting, pull back out of it. Walking yourself back up if you came down to the mat, and then just shifting your weight forward and maybe tapping your feet out. Then from here, we're going to go into our Camel Pose. So tucking your toes under and coming up to the tops of your knees. Tuck your tailbone under, lift your chest towards the sky. This Camel Pose and back bend is coming from lifting your chest to the sky rather than going backwards down towards the floor. Then from here, bring your hands to your lower back, roll your shoulders forward, and really think about lifting your chest up towards the sky. Once you have that bend, you can start to reach back towards your heels, pushing your hips forward and your chest upward. Those are the only motions that you need to think about. Hips forward, chest upward. And breathing. Two more breaths here, really pushing, getting the advantages of that back bend, and then with control, bringing yourself back up, and dropping your bum to your heels. Just to reverse this out, we're just going to grab the back of our heels with our hands and let our body just fold forward. From here, bring your hands out in front of you, plant your hands, and get back into your downward facing dog. Raise your right leg into the sky and open out your right hip. We're going to go into a pigeon pose now. So bringing your right knee forward behind your right wrist, keeping your toes flexed, and walking your left foot back along the mat until your right hip comes down towards the mat. You can put a block or a blanket under your right hip if it's quite far away from the mat. Raising up into your pigeon prep here, and then if you'd like to fall a bit deeper, lowering down into your sleeping pigeon pose. And just breathing here, making sure you're staying engaged. Drawing your right hip back, your left hip forward. And feeling that stretch along your glute and your inner thigh and your hip. Coming back up if you came down. And then just rolling onto your right hip and opening out your legs to straddle the long side of your mat. Keeping your spine long. Inhale to lengthen. On your exhale, start walking your hands forward and reaching out towards the front of you. Spine long, legs engaged, toes flexed into that forward, wide-legged forward fold. From here, carefully walk yourself back up. Grab your knees, bring them in towards you. Maybe give them a little hug, give them a little shake, and then plant your hands and push back into your downward facing dog again. Raising your left leg to the sky this time and opening out to the left-hand side. Pigeon on the left-hand side now. So bringing your left knee to behind your left wrist, toes flexed, walk your right leg back until your left hip is coming towards the mat. Use a block or a blanket underneath there if you're far away. And then lowering down into your sleeping pigeon. And again, keeping it engaged, not just relaxing into it. If you feel any pain in your knee, any pinching, come back out. breathing into whatever sensations you're feeling. Coming back up, rolling onto your left hip, straddling the other side of your mat. Inhaling to lengthen, flexing your toes, keeping your legs engaged, and then lowering down. You can reach out in front of you. Maybe you want to grab your big toes and use that as leverage to pull you further. But making sure that you're keeping your spine long, your legs engaged. If you engage your muscles, you'll feel automatically how much deeper you can get into the stretch. Letting that go, walking yourself back up, giving your knees a shake, pulling them in towards you, and just slowly lowering down, coming to lying on your back. Well done, everyone. So we're going to finish off with some final stretches. So bringing your right knee in towards your chest, and then pulling it over to the left-hand side into a reclined twist. You can have your right arm long alongside you and gaze over to the right-hand side. Breathing here. Coming back to center. On the other side, bringing your left knee in towards you, letting that fall over to the right-hand side. Left arm long out alongside you, gaze over to the left. Really pulling your shoulder towards the mat and your knee down and away from you, creating a lot of length in the side of your body. Letting that go. And then maybe let's do a happy baby just to finish off. So bending your knees, you bring the soles of your feet up towards the ceiling and then grabbing the outside of your feet or your big toes and just pulling your knees down towards the mat. Try and keep your entire spine, including your sacrum, down along the mat. And then you can maybe rock from side to side. You can maybe stretch your legs out to give you a bit more of a stretch there. And then when you're done, just come to lying on your back, ready for your Savasana. Let your feet just fall out to the sides of the mat, arms, palms facing up, away from your body. Come back to that intention or that person that you thought of at the beginning of your practice. And send any new energy that you found towards that intention or that person. Let your breathing go. Thank you for joining me today. You can stay here in your Savasana for as long as you like. I'll see you next week.